and welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. Me, Martin Naylor, and Liam O'Meara is just who's with me tonight. It's just the two of us. Luke is obviously fleeing his issues, and Scott is fleeing the country. He's that embarrassed of Nicholas Jackson that he's had to bail out of the UK. So we hope they'll be back soon. Liam, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
You know what? I'm tired. I did 3 gigs last weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're all long as well. And then I took Scott to the airport this morning. That was at 4 a.m. So it's been like a really long weekend. But everything's fine. Football got me through. Somehow got through the Arsenal match watching the score on my phone at the gig on Saturday. Because it was a 7:30 kickoff, which was annoying. But we can start with Arsenal if you want. There's a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, why not? Let's start with Arsenal.
Let's get it out of the way. Obviously went out of the Champions League this week since we last spoke, so that was fun. But I wasn't really too hung up about it, to be honest. I thought over 2 legs to lose 3-2 to Bayern there's no shame in it. Although I thought we could have been a bit braver and a bit better in certain areas. I don't think it was that bad. So, and I'm not. The Wolves win has made me reflect, made me feel a lot more comfortable about it. What do you think about the Champions League in general, the quarter-final round?
Well, very good. And I think a lot of people thought it would be because of the way that the last 16 draw was. That it was setting up for quite a good quarter-final draw. And I think it really played out that way. I think Arsenal's damage was done in the home tie. I think you left yourself far too much to do. Definitely,
yeah. I agree. And yeah, needing to go and win at Bayern Stadium is, not many people go and do that. I know this poor Bayern Munich that people have been mentioning all season just because Leverkusen have had an unbelievable season. That didn't look like it was on show. They were definitely, weaker if you go off like on paper, but they had a really good game plan. Played well. They've got great players.
I was going to say the points difference they've got in comparison to other seasons isn't massively lower this season.
No,
it's all skewed by this ridiculous Leverkusen season. But when you look at them man for man, it is a very impressive Bayern team. I do think Arsenal should be disappointed.
Particularly I'm not happy about it, but yeah.
Particularly now City are out as well. Because that would have been quite a glamour tie semi-final.
Yeah, definitely.
Real Madrid.
I'd love to play Real Madrid.
Game. And a winnable game.
Yeah, that's my dream fixture is Real Madrid. We've only played them a handful of times in my lifetime, and it's always been a big occasion. So, unfortunate, but like I said, the Wolves' performance and win softened the blow. And the fact that we play again tomorrow night or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, means we'll have 2 games before City do play any. And even though they'll have 2 games in hand, having them points on the board, I think, is the only way we can apply any pressure at the moment. So I'm hoping that everything goes to plan and that we can keep some form of title race alive, despite it looking bleak this time last week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Do you want to talk to me about Bolton for a minute?
Same as really. The disappointing game was last Tuesday, drawing at home to Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
That kind of ended things for us, really, in terms of automatics. We needed really a derby result. A negative result this weekend that never came. They beat Cambridge, so our win against Port Vale at home didn't really count for much. Theoretically, we can still go up automatic, but we won't. We're relying on
a loss and a 3-goal swing, is it?
It is, but the loss for Derby is not reliable. They're essentially playing Carlisle at home, Derby, who are bottom of the league, already relegated. And don't get me wrong, stranger things have happened in football. I'm sure we'll talk about Man United shortly, but I would be shocked if this time next week I'm singing about a promotion. It's not happening. It's going to be the playoffs, and we'll see how that fucking goes.
Yes. Here's a quick question. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot a minute, but is the League One playoff after the end of the Premier League season, or is it before sometime? Because there's still 4 left of ours of the Premier League.
I believe, off the top of my head, that it is the day before. The League One playoff final is the day before the last game of the season. I think we play on Saturday the 18th. I think.
Yeah. And
obviously, if we go to Wembley, there's no guarantees there. If we went to Wembley, it'd be Saturday the 18th, and I think Sunday the 19th is the end of the Premier League season, off the top of my head. So I think it's the day before. Happy to be corrected.
There's still a lot of playoff places up for grabs, isn't there?
In
League
the
One.
order can switch, so we can still finish 4th, depending on how Peterborough get on, both tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and also in the game against us.
Yeah,
it would be quite a swing for that as well. And I believe, and you don't know really what's going to happen, but I believe that Peterborough have given up on their very slim chances of securing automatic promotion, which they actually can still do as well. But that would be, I think, a 10 or 11 goal swing and 2 wins and a derby loss. So I think they've given up the ghost on that. So I believe they're playing reserves tomorrow night just to get ready for the playoffs. They're writing both games off. But I don't think Bolton will do that. I think Bolton will push for momentum and they'll try and as well, to be fair, if Peterborough do play reserves in that Saturday game, we did win 5-0 there last year, a game I went to. So you never know. You never know, I suppose, with that. But I just don't think Derby will lose. I think we may win 3 or 4. That may actually happen, but I don't think they will lose. Even a draw isn't good enough for us. So
momentum is key as well, innit? Going in, I've always said that a team who make a late push for the playoffs all have as good a chance as the team that's finished third, just because of momentum in their way.
Yeah, a lot of it's down to belief. There's some quite mad stuff going on. I think Barnsley sacked the manager today as well because they're concerned about the form going into the playoffs.
That's mad.
It is mad, and it looks like it'll be Michael Duff going back, who left last year to go to Swansea, but was sacked from Swansea. Michael Duff Barnsley beat us in the playoffs last year. He was manager Barnsley when they knocked us out last year in the playoffs. So yeah, it's a nuts time of the year. So we'll that'd be quite an interesting playoff tie. It's likely to be Barnsley versus Peterborough. So that would that would be quite a thing, and it'd be Bolton, I think, versus either Oxford or Blackpool. It's looking like maybe Lincoln, I think, as well. But Oxford, I do not want Blackpool.
Yeah, you don't want any derbies going on. They're not famously not but done well. I had a question. Because I feel like it's hit a lot of people this weekend, this week, this sort of fortnight. Does feel like everyone's a bit tired now? It's like this end of the season, this push, this last bit. I felt like a real tiredness came over every sort of football game I watched, even though they were crazy and there were some mad results and everything. I just felt there was like a fatigue hit everyone. I don't know if you feel that as a match going fan.
It's not something I thought about, if I'm being honest. I've seen it talked about quite a lot. I've not seen it personally, and I also don't really accept it in a sense that, like, when I'm hearing Pep Guardiola moaning about fixture congestion and things like that, not only does he have a big rotatable squad, you have 5 subs as well. Like, the conditions have never been better. Like, fixture congestion isn't a new problem. Like, if you're in all the cups, it's going to be hard. That's the point. That's why it's hard. Like, that is why. That's why no one does it a lot, because it's hard to keep getting yourselves up for all these big games at the end of the season. That's the whole point. This isn't a new thing. Like, if it was easier and they had a week between every game, the best team would always win everything. That's why that doesn't happen, because you have loads of games. Your best 11 isn't always available.
It was funny actually. Just
It's not,
on Pep,
yeah.
on Pep when he was interviewed after the match. I think it was Gary Lineker. He said, "Well, you can always play some different players." And he didn't really have an answer for him. He was like, "Well, thought about it, but no, couldn't do that because." And then he
I think
just
you
sort of
mentioned a game
mumbled
at
on.
Liverpool, didn't he? A few years back when they did it against Liverpool and they got
Yeah.
absolutely pumped. I
That's
do
it. So
remember that game. Yeah.
what's all this money going on? This £1.3 billion squad that they've got assembled. Yeah, I thought it was funny. His reaction afterwards was fun. You know what though?
He's not used to being asked a question he doesn't like. He sits there in front of the media and they never ask an uncomfortable question of Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't have mentioned it if they'd have lost, which I find hard to believe. He's a funny one. You know what though? I did get his point slightly with two semi-finals at Wembley, and City's likelihood that they would be in the Champions League quarter-final whenever this was arranged, that they could have switched them fixtures around and have City play on the Sunday.
It sounds
It's
like
an extra day.
But also, would Man United agree to that if they were the ones that are in there? If you were Man United, would you make life easier for Man City?
Well, no, obviously not.
I'm sure they would get a say, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but
so I think it sounds easy and it sounds like common sense, but the draw is the draw, and it's literally done in that way, and that's how it falls. If you then go, listen, United, can we not just swap because you're not in Europe anymore and it's better for City? You'd be like, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm not doing that.
But I see both sides of the argument where City and most clubs, other than Coventry, going into the semi-final of the FA Cup and the later stages of the Champions League, should have big squads and do have big squads and spend a lot of money on them. And that's what it's there for. On the other side of that, there is a player welfare issue, and just playing at this unbelievably high standard that we have, to play like every 3 games for 40 odd weeks of the year is pretty severe. Like the unbelievable athletes, but to get it out of them, and you can bring up money and you can bring up anything else, but I still think there's physical limits that people hit, unless you're Kyle Walker, but that's another story.
Well, I don't know. It's not a new problem.
No, it isn't. I do think there is a player welfare issue, and then going into the, it was mentioned in his interview, but they mentioned that the Champions League next year is going to be having more games. There's going to be more European games being played. But
we've already addressed this by cutting the FA Cup for them. It's already been addressed. So he cried when they kicked him out of the Champions League. When they weren't in it, they all saw their asses. Did he want to play more Champions League games or not? Like, I'm confused. They all saw their asses when they said, well, you don't have to play in the Champions League. It was the biggest injustice in the history of the world. Now they've been asked to play 2 more games, and it's the biggest injustice in the history of the world. Like, I don't know what they want. Nothing is ever for City, is it? Everyone's always against City. That's how they work, innit? Like, nothing, despite everything literally being fucking laid on a plate for them. And
rules being changed.
Yeah, exactly. Almost zero accountability for the whole of the time they've been going.
Speaking of player welfare, just wanted to highlight something that I thought was interesting. I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but so I was watching the commentary on the Sky Sports app on my phone of the Wolves Arsenal game, and then I was going to watch the highlights later on. Watch Match of the Day when I got in. This was 3:00 in the morning, and the story of what I'd read about didn't really match up to the highlights I was shown. They painted a picture like Wolves were very much in this game, and then I looked at the stats afterwards, and everything I was reading were like, it was Wolves were just kicking the shit out of our players, and it was pretty much all Arsenal, pretty dominant. So I had to go and I rewatched the full match to get the actual story rather than what the BBC highlights, and there was some really bad tackles that were not addressed on Match of the Day, which I just thought was mad. Like 2 potential straight reds that Wolves could have had. I'm not calling for anyone's head. I just thought it was interesting that like the way that BBC want to tell a story, the way that Match of the Day want to tell a story of a match. I don't know if you'd ever encountered anything like that.
Well, that's what television is, isn't it? It's entertainment. That's so when you're not showing something live, you can edit it. We're getting into that editorial stuff, aren't we?
Well, yeah, but like a potential red card surely is more entertaining. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to look at it from a neutral's point of view here. I'm only know because I've seen coverage of this match in now three variations: written word, the short highlights, the Match of the Day package, and then the actual full match in that order. And it was weird the way that they wanted to frame Wolves' performance for some reason. Like, Wolves have nothing to play for. There's nothing.
Are you suggesting that the media has an agenda against Arsenal again?
No, I thought it was a weird way. No, because it didn't change the fact of the match or anything like that. I wasn't that bothered about it. It was a weird way that the highlights were shown, and I thought it was weird having read about it and stuff. You only watch 1 or 2 full matches a weekend, and it makes you wonder.
I watched this game. I watched the game, but I cannot remember it. I can't remember it. I watched all of it and can remember nothing about it.
Well, there was a late. When it was Trossard scored right before half time, and then
yes.
Ødegaard scored 92nd minute.
Yes, he did. Trossard's goal, I feel like he sliced it, didn't he?
It's like a weird toe poke goal. Ødegaard's was a lovely finish. I thought, give the keeper the eyes. But 2 of the biggest talking points, there was like a Raya save, which he did really well on, and then 2 really bad challenges, one from Hwang, and I can't remember who did the other one, but it was on Havertz. And they were really bad tackles.
Havertz one was a bad one, I remember
that. And I thought...
Honestly, this game is complete. I literally sat there, watched the whole thing, and none of it has gone in my brain.
Maybe there was something blocking it at the time.
I was pretty pissed. So
anyway,
I can't remember.
I'm just making an interesting point. I thought it was a weird way of telling the story of a match to not just show down the line the obvious highlights or however you want to frame it. Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting point. So there's a lot of other things that we can be talking about. Shall we cover the FA Cup for a minute? We've got 3 stories that I want to cover, Liam. The FA Cup in general, the matches that happened, and then the announcement that the replays are going to be scrapped. And obviously, following on from the weekend's football, everything that's been going on with Nottingham Forest. And I'm going to let you pick where you want to start.
Let's start with the match itself, because I feel like that'll sort of be nicer, because no one's bothered about the City game, but no one's bothered about that.
Only Scott was. Nicholas Jackson's family, because they're in for some right shit. That guy is absolutely awful. Yeah. And I know I'm being told there's a player in there, but we've said the same about Darwin Núñez and Rasmus Højlund. These are all super expensive.
We'll get onto him. Let's start with United.
United Coventry. 3-1 up, 70 minutes. Were they 3-0? They were 3-0 up.
3-0 up with 20 minutes to go.
And then, really, I mean, I'm not calling VAR into question, but this line thing needs to get sorted out big time for me. It was... What we
were watching yesterday was possibly what could have been the greatest FA Cup comeback in history. It was the levels of that.
Greatest FA Cup match, never mind comeback, just match in general. Definitely probably what's gone on at Wembley.
And Man United, right, it was absolutely shameful. Like the performance levels, how far they dropped.
Yep.
Because they were really strong early doors. Really strong.
That's interesting because I didn't feel I just felt that they were the better players, but I didn't feel like that they were particularly playing well
No, I
together.
thought
I
they had a
just
bit of
thought
zip.
that
I thought they had a bit of zip about them. I thought the ball was moving around quickly. I thought Dalot looked
um,
good out wide. He was getting forward. I thought McTominay was bombing forward. I thought they looked up for it. I thought it was a team that understood that they got a favourable draw and was making it count. Like, they were ruthless. And then they weren't. And it's unbelievable
do
how
you
much.
think Coventry's goal just changed the mindset, or do you think it was something leading up to that one goal and then it was already going downhill from?
I just don't think they have a plan.
Yeah,
I don't think they have a plan. I honestly don't know. I think they know how to see out a game. Which,
I
if you
mean,
consider the amount of experience in that team, is unbelievable.
I think it was you who mentioned it in our WhatsApp group that you think Ten Hag's gone already, or he'd probably gone before the end of that match, and this was
Yeah,
before the potential fourth goal.
yeah. When the penalty went in for the third, I thought he'd gone. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way that United sort of command centre of the Death Star that was all watching it in one go. We're sitting there going, this can carry on. There's just simply no way. So it looks like Southgate will be taking over, which
that'd be fun. It'd be fun just to see the United fans' reactions to that.
100%. 100%.
We mentioned Hoyland. Do you wanna tell me your thoughts on him, because he went through a little good period just after Christmas.
Did he?
Well, he started scoring.
I feel like he got a few pretty golden chances that he connected with, but didn't. I think of one goal that he really finished with any kind of aplomb.
Do you think he gets off the hook lightly?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I mean, this is a man who Luke regarded as the new Haaland when he signed.
A lot of Man United fans said that.
I was reading, because I did a bit of looking, because I was pissing myself talking about it this morning on the WhatsApp group. But I was having to read about some of Hoyland's quotes before, and he said he encourages the comparisons with Haaland, that it's something that he believes himself, that he can be even better than him, because he has better all-round game with some of the things that he was being quoted as saying. I think he's been an outrageously poor signing. I don't know what he does. He doesn't look like a striker to me.
Yeah, they're like a team who are meant to be crossing the ball, yet they have wingers who want to cut inside and don't cross the ball.
But even when they cross the ball, he's never there.
Yeah.
It's always McTominay that's there, getting beyond him. Because
How old is he? Is he 20, 21?
22.
We've been talking about, we spoke about Darwin a few times, and we spoke about Nicholas Jackson, and he's in the same boat. I know Scott pointed it out, but Nicholas Jackson cost a lot less than them two. And
and Nicholas Jackson, I think, gets probably not as much stick as Nunez, but Nunez plays for Liverpool.
A successful team.
So the stick that Jackson gets as a Chelsea player in comparison to the Abs, and it's not even just from fans, it's the media do not seem to hold Holland to any kind of scrutiny. There was a play that was largely anonymous yesterday. Yes, he scored the winning penalty, and fair play, he did. But he was anonymous against a championship side up front. It's made for your number 9, that kind of game.
Big time. And listen, I think it was me and Scott did an episode and we were speaking about this, and we spoke about Nunez, and Nunez is the same age. I think he's 22 or 23. And I just think that if you're not a really natural finisher, like Nunez can get away with a lot. He's very industrious with his work, and I think they called him the bloody Professor Chaos or something like that on Sky Sports once. And that's sort of the game that you get from Nunez. And Jackson puts himself a lot about, but all three of them can't finish, can't hit Band. I'd love to see some sort of finishing competition where the three of them just had shots, and to see who would come out on top, because it's a mental, and it's weird the way that all three of them, big price tags, a lot of responsibility, are all misfiring, and Hoyland's just yesterday, big letdown.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it lends itself to the vacuum of natural number 9s there are in football at the moment, particularly younger
massively.
ones.
Yeah,
particularly younger ones. So essentially, what you've got there, maybe Jackson aside a little bit on this, but certainly with Hodgland and I've said his name about 6 different ways. Hoyland and Nunes, you've essentially got the frame of the old school number 9, big, tall, strong, powerful. And have they essentially been groomed into strikers when their natural game doesn't necessarily lend itself that way? Have they been pushed into the position more than anything else? Because when I look at the way Hodgland plays, again I said it a different way, Hoyland or whatever his fucking name is, whenever you look at the way he plays,
Rasmus.
Yes, when you look at the way he plays, to me he looks like a support type striker that plays in a 2.
Yeah, he does. He has that. He needs someone to feed off close to him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that doesn't really exist now.
No,
not many teams play over 2. I can't think of a single team in world football playing with 2 up front at the moment.
No, maybe Real Madrid. I think they sort of do 2, but
actually, I can think of one. Bolton play with a 2, so that was sorry. A top flight team playing with a 2. I can't think of one, but dog shit.
I know Coventry. Fair play to him. If you'd have given an FA Cup semi-final at the beginning of the season, they'd have snapped your hand off. But to miss out in the way they did and then go out on penalties, I felt dead sorry for him. Yeah,
it's heartbreaking. Cruel game.
So let's go.
I was going to say, at least Anthony enjoyed it.
What a rat he is, man.
Such a nice guy as well. Off the pitch, seems a really good family guy as well.
Allegedly. What else did I want to speak about? FA Cup replays. So that was a big announcement midweek. And that's the news that the FA have decided to scrap replays. Now, it's something that we spoke about earlier on in the season when we spoke about sort of fixture congestion and these sort of problems. This is now the time of the season where it comes to a head and we start hearing about it a lot. What was your initial reaction to that decision?
I had a mixed feeling. I love the FA Cup and I go to as many cup games as I can. We've talked about cup games at Bolton before.
Yeah.
And
£5 a ticket, £10 a ticket, whatever it is.
Yeah, but I go to all of them, right? But one thing I keep saying is there's not many there when I do.
Yeah.
They're poorly attended. So, and I've seen a lot of Bolton fans kicking up a fuss, and they're not Bolton fans that I see when I go to cup games. I feel like people are angry because they think they should be angry, when the reality is that not many of them go anyway. It's very few times in football where it's actually happening at the moment, where the lower league team gets a replay at a Premier League team. I think it's been 8 in the last 6 years, I think they said, on the build-up to the game. And one of them was us this season.
Oh, yeah, so Luton,
yeah. So we got a replay against our friends at Luton. And there's about, I think the total attendance was about 9,000 for the replay.
Yeah.
I think that says it all. And I feel like a lot of people moaning, if they went to these cup games, particularly like championship level, I would say, that seems to be the sweet spot for poorly attended games. If they went to these replays, or cup games in general, this wouldn't be a discussion. I wonder what the cut. I know they talked about the money being compensated and things like that.
Well, yeah. This is what I was sort of alluding to, is fixing it somehow. And how do we fix it? So the big issue here that the Stan Collymores of the world will want to preach about on Twitter is that this is unfair on the small clubs. They dream of a massive tie. They get Liverpool or Man United away, and it fixes that club for the next 5 years or whatever it can be, that £1 million or something that they'll end up getting in. If that's in just the gates and whatever they share on the day, let alone the TV money that they could potentially get. So what's the fix there? Compensate them more? Well, I had 2 fixes really. One of them won't happen. and that is that so for those that don't know, the FA Cup matches are split 3 ways no matter where the venue is. So it's a third to the home team, a third to the away team, a third to the FA. And that's for all the revenue generated on that match day. So obviously, Hereford going to Old Trafford is massively beneficial for them. Way more beneficial than United going to Hereford or whatever it could be. So my idea, I had 2, was the FA reduce their share and put it down to 10%.
It makes up, I was reading about this, the FA Cup makes up about 60% of the FA's revenue.
Exactly. This was number 1 that wasn't going to happen. But they've made the decision to take that potential revenue away. So should they be the ones to compensate?
No.
All right.
I think,
go on. Just tell me your argument against that, because I know it won't happen anyway. But
no, the FA needs to be protected. I think sometimes when we talk about things like the FA and the Premier League, we sort of turn them into these sort of faceless sort of corporations. Yeah, exactly. But the FA does a lot, top and bottom.
Yes.
Like, it's the Premier League less so. Like, let's have it right. But the problem is the Premier League again. It's not. These are all the Premier League as a group, as an organisation. It's all over these different decisions, and yet they always, like Teflon. It never seems to stick on them. It's always the other party that gets fucking blamed. So this was an agreement between the Premier League and the FA. There was no EFL involved, even though 72 clubs are members of the of that. Yeah. They weren't involved in this discussion.
I agree.
The National League wasn't involved. But yet the Premier League had the main seat at the table, and by all accounts, sounds like they were the ones dictating terms. And
yes, can you blame them for not looking out for the small guy? I mean, should they be? And there's been a lot of talk about this. Is like, all this trickle down money, and with different ways you could tax big transfers and stuff to stop the Premier League running away with itself. But why, if you whittle it down, why should a business just take care of another business because one's better than the other?
They shouldn't They shouldn't for that reason. They shouldn't for that reason, because you're right, that's just nonsense, and the idea of a free market economy is just that, right?
Yeah.
What makes the English game so good and so powerful is the pyramid. So the problem you've got is if the Premier League don't look after the pyramid, it collapses underneath them. And for all the reasons why they all the West Ham fans of the world and the Leicester fans of the world got on their high horse about the Super League not allowing relegation, if you find a position where the pyramid can't sustain itself, the Premier League becomes a closed shop and it loses all its integrity. So you have to protect the pyramid.
I agree. I agree, and I'm in favour of that forever. Let's just go on to my other fix quickly. I just want your opinion on it. But it would be that prize money is made very significant in the FA Cup, which it isn't. Clubs don't make that much. A non-league club might make a couple $100,000 by getting to the third round. Make that £5 million. Getting to the semi-final a £10 million bonus. Because the FA are massively wealthy. Yes, they rely on the FA Cup and they rely on it, but they can put money into it to make it a bigger, more alluring competition that will make teams step up. It'll probably get rid of replays because it'll make teams more competitive.
I think you need a bigger TV deal, and I don't think it's there.
Yeah, like an exclusive FA Cup deal.
Yeah, I don't think there's a demand for that. I think they're trying to increase it. So, for example, I believe, and I don't know this, but I was reading that the windows of games is going to be wider. So it's going to go from instead of it being Friday to Monday, it's going to go from Thursday to Tuesday to increase more games that can be shown. I imagine that's for that. They're quite good at doing different games in different countries as well with the FA Cup. They have different packages across it, so they really try and milk it. I don't think the demand is there for that though, man. I think the problem in English football is, as it always is that no one gives a fuck about anything other than the Premier League. No.
Yeah.
Really. They just don't. And it is what it is. We all love the Premier League. I love watching it. We all love it. But no one really gives a fuck. I was listening to that podcast you did with you and Scott, basically saying that the Champions League isn't as important anymore. And I couldn't believe my ears. But the truth is, you're not alone in that view. I disagree with it, but you're not alone in that view. The Premier League is the be-all and end-all. And
yeah, let me straighten this out because Luke's ran away with some crazy notion. We might have mentioned that it was not as important. I think it's for all clubs. It's the most important cup competition. But for all these teams, you look at the crazy shit that Bayern have been going through because they haven't won it this season, and there's always turmoil at Barcelona when they don't win the league. Every club builds for your league. And I just think the Premier League, being the way it is now, especially the last 4 or 5 years, 10 years even, that it's so hard to win that everything is built around that, and the focus is there. And there's only Real Madrid I can think of in the world who think they bring it, or PSG, because their leagues are a given, that the managers and the teams are built around winning the Champions League. It's a side note for everyone else. A great one, a big one.
I would disagree with that. I think it's that case now for City, but I believe it was an obsession for City up until last season.
Well, yeah, it's an obsession when you're on that path and you're spending ridiculous money, and it's the next goal. But I'd probably bet my house on before their first Premier League, and this is something that we said. Before their first Premier League, if you offered them one or the other, they'd have chose the Premier League. That if you're the fans, which one they'd have preferred to win. And the Champions League is something that comes like after. And that was my point, really.
Maybe, but Champions League is like the epitome of greatness.
Yes, I understand that. I do.
Like, you cannot be...
As an Arsenal fan, I get this argument a lot.
Yeah, it is what... I mean, don't get me wrong. You can have fantastic club sides that do great things in the league, but in terms of like storied, talks about for generations.
Yes, Kings of Europe and all that. I get it.
Yeah,
I do get it, and I get why that argument sounds controversial.
Particularly if you back it up with like if you get things like 2 in 3 years, or if you're a player that's won if you're a player who's won multiple Champions Leagues, like.
Yeah.
You're literally a storied legend of the game. Like you're on doing all the draws for the World Cups and fucking you know what I mean. You're on all the Heineken adverts forever. Like you are literally like up there with your Nestas and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it, but I forgot our original point. Yeah,
he won one Nesta, but that's not the point.
So, I forgot the original point now, Liam. FA Cup replay.
Arsenal shit.
Arsenal haven't won the Champions League again, yeah. No, so FA Cup replays. I wanted to get rid of them because less so about fixture congestion. I think, I'm a supporter of a big six in speech terms, speech brackets, a big six team, and we should be able to deal with, definitely a replay with the size of our squad. And if we can't, that's on us big time. What I do think though that player welfare and fixture congestion, I just think it's and I think more of your point originally that people just don't care. They care so much less. You'd have much rather preferred to beat Luton at their place and just go through rather than win a replay, I'm sure.
Look, there's a small thing. Everyone seems to think that, Aldershot are getting holding United to draws and going to games at Old Trafford every year. That kind of big six, that's what we're talking here. The small chance where you might hold a big six team at home and take them away.
When's the last time it happened? When's the last?
This is it, and it doesn't happen that much. And But, you know, when you look at the games like Sunday,
Yeah.
and that Coventry game and the drama in that, you do watch that and you think, on its day, there is nothing like the FA Cup. And do you really want to butcher it? Do you want to change it? Do you like, he won 2, Nesta, sorry. Do you really want to change that? No, not really. But yeah, I think, well, I'm not as bothered as other lower league fans are.
My other fix, and it's something when we spoke about the League Cup, is that teams who are in Europe should be able to drop the League Cup as a potential tournament.
Oh, well, we've talked about this before, and I think most of us agreed with that.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd want to. I honestly don't think they'd want to.
Or field a B team or something like that, like have a set B team, a set under 21 squad or something. Just to whatever this version.
They do that in our cup though, don't they? And they get pumped. They do get pumped as well.
Yeah.
You've got like not many. Even I think we put 8 past United this year. Like, and that's not me just saying we put 8, but it's like it's not comparable. Like it's men versus boys. It doesn't really work that.
Yeah, regardless of it being United, it's a League One, title pushing side against a top 6 side essentially. But when you go B team, yeah,
we put 5 past Liverpool, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
4 past Everton. We beat Cities. I think they were the ones that give us the best game, but I think we still beat them 3-1.
Yeah,
and that's not me sat going, oh my god, we're battering all. It's just not. It just doesn't work. And a lot of the time, these games clashed with League Cup games where they were getting played in anyway. It just doesn't work.
So, yeah, there were some fixes. I thought it was a bit of a. I don't know my opinion on it. I'm not really asked. I was for getting rid of replays. Now it's actually. I have considered both sides a little bit more. This is why I don't make
podcast tackling the big issues by saying they're not really that asked about them. That's how we.
No, it wasn't asked about replays. Like, as in, I didn't care about them, and I was happy for them to go. Is what I meant by not asked. I'm not bothered about the situation.
Here's a question: how many goals do you think Nesta scored for Italy?
Alessandro Nesta scored how many goals for Italy? I'm going to go with 8.
0. Okay, moving on.
Why are you picking on Nesta?
I don't know, just because I don't know why Nesta came in my head, and I was like, then I was really doubting myself, thinking, has he won 1 or 2? Has he won 1 or 2?
Let's have a quick guess, and you can Google this if you want. No. Of greatest players who never won the Champions League, and I'll give you one because it always gets mentioned, but Zlatan is a big one that never won the Champions League.
Players.
He is a great player who didn't win the Champions League.
Who never won the Champions League?
You know who's one who I didn't think won the Champions League? I think Brazilian Ronaldo, but I might be wrong there. He may have won one.
No, I think
he didn't win it.
No, he won the UEFA. I think he won the UEFA Cup. Yeah, he won the UEFA Cup with Inter. I think didn't win the Champions League. I'll give you a list if you want. I've got. There's some greats here. He's probably the greatest. I would say.
Mikel Arteta. Is he on the list?
He's not on this list. No, there is an Arsenal player on this list.
Dennis Bergkamp.
I was going to say you could put a lot of Arsenal players on this list, couldn't you? But yes, Bergkamp is on the list.
Yeah.
It's some of the ones
famously won it when he went to Barca. So
yeah, you've got Sergio Aguero. Obviously, never won it.
Yeah.
Buffon never won it.
Buffon. When did Juventus win it? Did Juventus win it? I'm trying to think. Was it the year when the final was at Old Trafford? Was that a Juventus win, or was that AC Milan when they won it? I'm trying to. This is a fun.
I don't remember Juventus Champions League win.
I'm struggling to remember a Juventus Champions League win. It clearly wasn't in the last 25 years because that's when he's been playing for Juventus.
Let's have a look. I think we were kids when Juventus last won it. Let's have a look. Maybe like 95 or something. Yeah, 95, 96. Juventus beat Ajax at the Stadio Olimpico. Home-ish game for them. So a couple more players that never won it. Yes, that's quite a famous one. Crying his eyes out after Sheringham and Solskjaer. And the two of us that named here, Giorgio Chiellini, yeah, and Francesco Totti. But, you know, he wasn't going to, was he? That
No.
They had 1 year. Did he get to semis, Roma? Didn't think they got to a semi.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him in the final.
No, they got to a semi, I think. Maybe around 2007, something like that.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's
He got a World Cup medal though, so he can have that.
Yeah, he did get that.
I like that. There's a pop trivia question about name these Italian players who didn't win the World Cup, and I think most people presume Maldini was one, but he wasn't in the squad in 2006 when they won it, which is mental. So smoothly moving on. Give me your initial reaction to what Nottingham Forest Twitter account went off with yesterday.
I think they're fucking clowns. And I also think it's really, really naughty. And I think they know what they're doing. I think if I was a director or senior manager...
Before you go down this route, can you
hole.
Yes, this rabbit hole. Can you just outline what they've done? Anyone who doesn't know.
They basically called into question the integrity of VAR official Stuart Atwell on the basis that he is from Luton and is a Luton fan, that he should not have been in command of the VAR for this game, and that for some reason would mean that influenced the fact of key decisions in the game. Most particularly these 3 penalty decisions that Nottingham Forest believe were completely stonewall penalties.
Were they all Ashley Young as well? At least 2 of them were.
Yeah, at least 2 of them were. I watched this game, and I don't remember the third one. I do think the handball was. I do think that was a penalty. But I thought that when it happened. I
honestly think they all could have been given in their each right.
But I also think that they're not ridiculously wrong either. And if you've put that to a VAR and gone, is this a clear and obvious error? Then no. Like it's not obviously an error. It's subjectively I could have gone the other way on that. And that, in a world where we're saying VAR gets too involved, we basically just want VAR to do whatever we want it to do in it. That's we're just getting into territory of VAR should do what I want to happen. And if it doesn't do that, then the Premier League is corrupt. Rotten to its core. It's absolute nonsense. And if I was being cynical, and I was a Nottingham Forest director, so I'm going to jump back down that rabbit hole, I would be very concerned at the end of the season about, 2 points deducted, was it? 2 or 4? 4?
4 points.
And if that was to cost them at the end of the season, I could do with another fucking scapegoat if I was a director at Nottingham.
This is Liam's conspiracy corner, but this does make a lot of sense. Time to shift the blame.
Well, 100%, because it's shit in the pants.
Yeah.
And I would be if I were them, because essentially they were, it's their fault, isn't it?
What do you make of them accusing someone of bias? How do you think this is out of line? Because Scott actually put out that people are saying that Nottingham Forest are out of line for this, but officials' club allegiances should be called into question a lot more.
But they are. They are, though. There's only, it's a real thing. There are games you can and cannot do. And
I've heard Keith Hackett saying it today. He's come out with that all officials have to, say where they're from and who they support. And Michael Oliver's on record
even
as well saying this.
Members as well. Core family members. It is taken into account. I think it. Also, it called someone's integrity into question. That's not a small thing, I don't think. It's not a small thing. And I get what Scott's saying, but Scott's a complete internet Looney Tune, isn't it? He gets caught down all these wormholes and fucking. He's one step away from being a flat earther, Scott. So I'm not surprised he sort of agrees with all this.
Just thank God this didn't happen to Chelsea, because this would have been it'd have been a 45-minute monologue about this.
Yeah,
They've
so
cancelled his flight.
Yeah, so no, I think it's wrong, but I agree that referees' locations and allegiances need to be taken into account, but they are already.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different version of events about whether Nottingham Forest did complain about it before game, because the PGMOL are pretty firm in saying that no, you didn't, lads.
That's interesting. I didn't know that they said they hadn't raised it, because that's something that they were sort of
PGMOL
adamant on.
I saw this release leak last night. I think someone in the mail was reporting it that PGMOL basically saying Clattenburg didn't ring us. What are you on about? And Clattenburg's come out this morning, hasn't he? Very much saying that he did do that. But I think the PGMOL, who I don't see why they would lie about it, if I'm being honest. Like I don't get the lying. I don't think they did. I don't see why they would say that. Now the conversation's switching from Forest, like no need to release the tapes. Like it just seems like now they're moving the conversation away of, well, we said this now. Release the tape. I knew this would happen every time someone gets a dodgy decision.
I hope that when they release the tapes, there's like, who is it on VAR? Stuart. I hope there's like an evil chuckle, and then he goes, fuck him.
Yeah, exactly. Also, as well, if I was Stuart Atwell, like, why would he want Everton to? I don't understand why the assumption is he would want Everton to win. Either like when he's level on points, or when Everton below for it. I don't like.
No, there's 2 points separating Forest and Everton a level. I think. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but Everton and Forest are level, and Luton are 2 behind.
Like, why would he automatically want Forest to lose?
Yeah.
It's just.
I think it's a slippery slope, this, for Forest, and I don't know how they get out of it now. They're just going to be tied up in legal battles, defamation, and God knows what else. If they carry on down this path, they've already got enough problems as it is. And you're probably right with the scapegoat thing. I don't really know what else to call it. I think it's so stupid for them, and just this world against us attitude. It just never works, and it's never right. You're constantly calling the integrity of the game into question. And on this subject, can we just touch on VAR again? So, just for a second, because I know this is the world's most infuriating topic, but has it served its purpose this weekend? I mean, we've seen, and we probably think either any two of them three could have been given, really, on any day. VAR is there to make the correct decisions.
The commentary one, it's so brutally cruel, but if he's offside, he's offside. I'll be honest, when it happened...
The offside ones I'm a little bit easier on, because it's definitive.
I also thought, I was surprised how close it was. If I'm being completely honest, when the goal was scored, I thought Bailey Wright was more offside than he actually was.
I thought it was on, to be honest.
No, yeah, when it happened, I said to Ash, I went, I think he's miles off here. When it actually showed it live, I'm like, oh, that's closer than I thought, but I still thought it looked off. Like, and then when the lines come up, I was like, that was closer than I thought, actually. But then you look at the Everton game, they're not clearing out. They're not clear and obvious. Although the handball is the one. Like, I looked at that and I'm like, that's a penalty when I first saw it.
What about the Jack Grealish one? What did you make of that as well? I don't know if you've seen you glaze over here, but it was in the Jack Grealish one where he was in the wall, and Cole Palmer's free kick in the first FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, I thought that was a penalty as well. Yeah,
big time.
I completely forgot about that. I watched a lot of football this weekend as well.
You've watched too much.
All of this is lecture, and I watched that as well. Yeah, that did think that was a handball.
Yeah.
So especially that angle from behind. There was an angle from behind Pochettino, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It looked bang on then. Like, I'm surprised.
And he's give a goal kick at the end of it.
Yeah. Scott was Scott was very understanding of that mistake.
Yeah, understated. Nice, pleasant comments. So VAR, Liam, is it working? We're nearly at the end of full season with this iteration of VAR. Is it working?
Probably no, but I don't think it ever can because people just fucking love to moan about it, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Like, you could have the perfect system, and you'd still have people like Scott working at how many meters is the locality of the VAR assistant to where the stadiums are, and dividing these fucking conspiracy theories off the back of it. So I think we're in the age of the internet weirdo where we're literally just going to end up talk about this to the end of the world, which, with the way things are at the moment, hopefully comes fucking soon.
Yeah, Putin can press that button anytime for me. I'm ready. But just going back to it for a sec, VAR is there to not have this argument. If you have VAR, there can't be any subjection. And if you're going to have subjection, then just let the best qualified guys, was Premier League referees, in my opinion, pre-VAR. So let them referee the game.
But that just doesn't work, does it? Because people care too much. Everyone cares too much.
To give them a shitty system to fall back on.
Yeah, but even the best system in the world, people will still think that. Martin, you were saying earlier that you thought Match of the Day had a weird broadcasting thing about Wolves versus Arsenal. So this is what I'm on about. People care too much about stuff. So it just can never work because people watch two different videos and have two same video, and because of their thoughts, beliefs, and values, will see two different things. So
I understand that.
Nothing will ever work. We're doing we can either have it or not. There's no perfect VAR.
Listen,
because people are just fucking angry.
No, we're to create positive change on the world, and your doom and gloom attitude here isn't working for me.
I've accepted the problem of it. I don't think early in the season I was very much like, it is what it is. You're gonna stick with it. But now I'm just like, I'm sick of it. Just get rid of it. Burn it. Burn it all. Never do it again. If Bolton missed out with the 2 kicks on Zenden at Millennium Stadium, would have had it then. Blah blah blah. I don't care. Fuck it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I agree. Get rid of it, but only because. Yeah, this is the thing. If there is VAR, it needs to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it needs to go. That's my opinion. And that perfect is basically it's refereeing the game. That's and otherwise we should be relying on the people best qualified and call, Mike Oliver and Anthony Taylor, whatever you want. But these are the guys at the moment. That's what it is.
We need Deanbot, what we discussed earlier in the season.
Deanbot, who's trying me a kit on. I think that is all the hottest topics of the moment covered.
Good, because I want my chicken Kiev, so I'm going to finish.
Chicken Kiev is a child's dinner, Liam.
I know.
Have you got potato dinosaurs with it and some spaghetti letters?
No, I've got Mexican rice actually. So that kind of brings it back a little bit.
Yeah. All right, you've grown up slightly. Right.
What are you having for tea, man?
Pizza. I was meant to be fasting this week and taking Scott to the airport and having very little sleep all weekend, and my child being a bit poorly, and we ended up having a Mackey's breakfast at 9 o'clock this morning. It's just the world has not gone.
What's your pizza topping of choice?
You know what? I'm dead simple. We've had this discussion for many years, but all pizza tastes the same, unless you're a weirdo who likes barbecue base. So
I do agree. I do like barbecue base as well, but I do agree that.
No, that's for weirdos. I'm a pretty simple pepperoni guy. Just give me that. I don't even care. I'm not a big food guy. I don't give a shit. And honestly, you could give me the same meal every day, and I just eat it and move on with my life. I don't sit around and
like scurvy or something. But yeah.
Well, yeah.
Do you want to know?
What?
I had a bit of research earlier,
Go on.
because Luke wasn't on again. I know how much he enjoyed this. Do you want to know how to survive a wolf attack? Right.
Do you know what? This is something that has actually come up in conversation a lot recently.
Yeah. So, stay calm. Wolves are smart and will be testing you for weakness. That's pretty grim, isn't it? Don't run. This is the worst thing you can do.
How did they test you for weakness?
I don't know.
They just weigh you up.
I feel
He
like,
looks like.
yeah, like they'll dart around and be like, he's bad on his legs, this guy. And then you've got, let them know that you're the dominant.
Right. Piss on them.
But I think we're getting into like piss on things again, aren't we?
Everything comes back to pissing on something.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing Curse of Wolf when you have a dog with you, bring your dog to your side and put it on a lead.
That dog is getting sacrificed big time. I'm out of there.
No chance. Just shout at the animals, and if you can do it without appearing vulnerable, throw a few stones at them.
Get your Tom Brady arm out.
And then back away slowly. And if possible, position yourself with your back against a wall or fence and move towards an exit if you're in an enclosed space.
Interesting. I went to Chester Zoo recently and they had some wolves. And they don't look like the type of animal you'd pick a fight with.
No.
Or win, even if they tried.
And the last bit of advice for surviving a wolf attack is be careful not to fall or act scared, because this would encourage an attack by you appearing to be vulnerable.
Liam, this podcast is at a new high tonight. We've covered about 11 topics. We've got rid of your sort of pre-notions that Alessandro Nesta was a failed great. We covered Bolton. We started with Wolves v Arsenal, and we've finished with Wolf life survivals.
Should have done it.
No, this is it. We wrapped it up. We're full circle.
Okay. I want my chicken Kiev, so let's wrap this up.
Yeah, go get your packed lunch from your wife, okay. Goodbye, everyone. You can find all our information at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com. Liam, we'll catch you on the next one. Have a lovely evening meal.
Thank you. Farewell.
But this will be weird for everyone listening to it at breakfast on Tuesday.
Yes, it will. That's not when I'm having my chicken Kiev. It's not. This isn't live.
This isn't live.
I'm not like Tom Skinner having like, what is it? Yeah. It's like chicken dinner at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, weird. People do anything for likes. Speaking of likes, please like and subscribe. Catch you all in the next one. Love you, bye.
Bye, man.